When I was at my most helpless, Ryan Hua married me. Everyone said he married me to spite my sister. However, after he died in a car accident, he left all his inheritance to me, along with a voice recorder. Gently tapping on it, I heard his husky, low voice. He said, "MIA son, can you like me just a little bit?" After many years, I finally caught a glimpse of the grand and magnificent love he had hidden beneath the ice. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn. My adoptive mother was holding my hand and saying, "MIA, would you go to jail for your sister?" Before I turned 16, I was the spoiled young lady of the Song family, loved by my parents and favored by my brother, living a carefree life. When Song Yu came to my door with a DNA test, I found out that the nurse had mixed up the babies back then, and she was the real young lady, while I was just the evil cuckoo in the usurped nest. I had wanted to leave, but my biological parents had already passed away, and Mrs. Song couldn't bear to see me become an orphan, so she officially adopted me. My foster parents are very good to me. My brother didn't neglect me, and Song Yu never made things difficult for me. I am grateful. However, later on, Song Yu had a dispute with an actor in the backstage of the crew, and during the argument, that person fell down the stairs and became a vegetable. At that time, there was no surveillance. But someone has to take responsibility, and I happened to be present at the time, witnessing everything. My adoptive mother came to find me in tears, begging me to take the blame for Song Yu. Song Yu knelt in front of me, bowed her head, slapped herself, and said she was sorry to me. The whole family cried their hearts out, so I nodded. I took the blame for her, went to prison, and endured great suffering. At first, the Song family would still come to see me, shedding tears out of either guilt or regret, but slowly, no one came anymore. Once, during an event organized by the prison, the warden asked us about our plans after our release. I thought for a long time before seriously putting pen to paper. After my release, I want to see my mom and dad once. The inmate next to me laughed that I actually wrote something so simple. Dad and mom will definitely come to pick you up. How could they not find you? I smiled and didn't refute. But when I was actually released, no one came. Only my father's assistant took me to the airport and handed me a large sum of money. He didn't say anything, but I understood everything. Dad and mom don't want me anymore. The Song family has abandoned me. I didn't ask for money. It's not about being noble. I just don't want to owe the Song family anymore. The Song family raised me for over 20 years, and I served 5 years in prison for their daughter. It's all cleared up. I rented a house and ran my legs off just to find a job that didn't mind my criminal record, but after just half a month, I was fired. After much questioning, the manager stammered and said, "You have provoked the wrong person." I was momentarily stunned, and then I couldn't say anything. The wrong person to provoke. Except for the Song family, who else could it be? That day, I walked into the street with a bag in my arms. The drizzle was light, and the cool rain fell on my face and body with the wind. Passing by the central square, the large screen was playing a live stream by Song Yu. I paused and looked up. On the podium, she was stunningly beautiful, freely showcasing her beauty. As the camera turned, I saw Song's father and mother looking at her with tears in their eyes. It was as if they were gazing at a rare treasure, filled with love. I don't know why, but suddenly I remembered the first time I visited in prison. My adoptive mother looked at me, who was rapidly losing weight, and tearfully promised me, "MIA, after you are released from prison, Mom will take care of you for the rest of your life. Mom loves you." 2 years ago, when I last saw her, her expression was only filled with faint guilt. She said, "MIA, RU is going to get engaged to Ryan Hua. She likes him very much. After you are released from prison, can you leave here so that the He family won't find out about the past?" Ryan Hua, the prince of the He family. There are televisions in the prison, and I occasionally hear Song Yu and Ryan Hua's deep and passionate love. It is said that Ryan Hua is a well-known playboy in the industry, but he changed his mind for Song Yu, entered the entertainment circle he despises the most, paved the way for her, connected her with resources, and personally presented her with awards. I occasionally envy Song Yu. I envy her having caring parents, a favorite boyfriend, and in just over 20 years, she has achieved success in both career and love. Not like me, no parents, no career, no lover. Also, no one loves me. As for marrying Ryan Hua, that was originally an accident. After being dismissed, I returned to my hometown and worked as a waitress in a restaurant. It's quite busy. I don't know where he got the news, but when he found me, I was serving beer to the customers. The man drank too much and was out of control. I frowned and slapped him, and in a fit of rage, the man kicked me to the ground. The wine bottle and food spilled all over me. It was scalding hot. The man was still not satisfied and was cursing and about to strike again, but the next second he fell silent. When I opened my eyes, I met the man's starry eyes. Ryan Hua smiled slightly, but lazily, with little sincerity. "Mie-san, you really are here." I got up, shook off the crumbs of food on me, nodded, and wanted to bypass him and leave, but just after taking a few steps, then I heard his voice coming from behind. "Seeing you so embarrassed, do you want to marry me?" I was stunned and turned to look at him. "Have you finally gone crazy?" "I'm serious." Ryan Hua took a glance at me, his eyes dark and emotionless, but when he spoke, his tone was serious. "To be honest with you, I was dumped by your sister. I'm in a bad mood. And you being forced into this by the Song family makes us somewhat of an alliance of victims." The streetlight flickered twice in a dull yellow glow before declaring itself out of service. I couldn't see his face clearly. I could only hear him snicker, with a hint of red glowing from the cigarette at the corner of his mouth. "Anyway, you have nothing right now. Marrying me won't hurt you. So what are you afraid of?" I thought for a moment. I didn't say anything. He quietly waited for me, until the cool breeze blew past. I instinctively shrank back. Ryan Hua took off his high-end tailored coat and draped it over my shoulders. In that instant, his subtle tobacco scent filled my nostrils. I said, "Okay." When the wedding news spread, everyone was shocked. Everyone said Ryan Hua married me just to spite Song Yu. At the wedding, when Ryan Hua said he was willing, I noticed Song Yu crying red-eyed in the audience and leaving the scene in distress. I glanced at the man, but he just smiled and didn't even look at her. As if he had never loved, as if he really didn't care. After marriage, Ryan Hua treated me very well. He arranged a secretary job for me, always keeping me close. I asked him the reason, and he just smiled playfully. "I'm not at ease leaving a beautiful woman alone at home, afraid that a thief might steal her away. If I lose my innocence, wouldn't that be a huge loss?" I laugh at him for being indecent. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him. During those years in prison, I suffered too much. My body couldn't withstand Hua's torment. A cold or cough in an ordinary person would make me seriously ill. Ryan Hua brought in various famous doctors to treat me, and I got a little better. By the bedside, he held my hand sincerely and devoutly. "Mia-san, I bought you. Your life is mine. You can't die before me," the words of a child, but looking at the faintly bitter expression in his eyes, I ultimately nodded. I don't understand why he's so mournful for Hua. But I have long learned not to ask or disturb, okay, to grow old together. But in the end, it was the person who didn't keep their promise. But it's not me. But Ryan Hua, Mr. He passed away at 3 a.m. yesterday due to a serious car accident and was unable to be saved. Please accept my condolences. Pushing open the mortuary, the He family's parents had long been reduced to tears. I looked at Ryan Hua, whose face was pale and colorless, but only thought to myself, heaven favored him, giving him a family background, appearance, and abilities that others could not match. But why did it begrudgingly give him only 34 years? What a pity, what a pity. Ryan Hua's funeral was arranged by me. After 5 years of marriage, many people still do not look favorably upon my marriage with him. Song Yu, in particular, grew resentful out of love and was always waiting to see my embarrassment. But no one expected that Ryan Hua would give all his assets and shares to me. The He family's parents had no objections. It was just that when leaving, my back was hunched, no longer displaying the spirit of the past. A week later, Ryan Hua's lawyer Chen brought me the inheritance transfer document. Before leaving, he handed me a voice recorder. "This is Mr. His relic. It has been repaired. I think you, madam, should need it. Mia-san." In the voice recorder, the man's voice is clear and cold, mixed with a hint of static noise, making it even hoarser. "I married you not because I was acting out of spite towards Song Yu, but because I like you. I was momentarily stunned, but my heart was completely at peace, as if I had already anticipated it. Ryan Hua chuckled softly. Perhaps you forgot long ago, we've met before. At that time, you were the flower on top of the mountain in school, yet exceptionally intelligent, a favorite of the teachers. My mentor often mentioned you, and every time he finished chatting with your teacher, he would angrily tell me, Ryan Hua, you're annoyed with me now, stay away from me. He imitated his mentor's tone, looking particularly adorable. I instinctively chuckled, but in the next moment, I slowly took it back. Ryan Hua was still talking. I really disliked you back then, but I couldn't help but keep my eyes on you. I guess I have a bit of a lowly nature, haha, but later, you ended up in prison for so-called intentional injury. I didn't believe it, I had to get to the bottom of it. But unfortunately, the Song family cleaned up all the clues very well, so I set my sights on Song Ryu. It turns out, the love story between Ryan Hua and Song Ryu that everyone talks about is just an excuse for him to find out the truth about my imprisonment. But Ryan Hua didn't expect that Song Ryu's mouth would be both tight-lipped and stubborn, but he ultimately found some clues. I suddenly remembered, before marriage, Ryan Hua once asked me very excitedly, MIA, do you want to take revenge? I don't want to. I shook my head. It's settled. After many years, I finally understood that he had probably found out the truth that day. He investigated the truth for me, and for me, he hid the truth. It turns out, everything was because of me. The emotions in my eyes trembled violently. My whole body couldn't help but shake continuously, and tears fell drop by drop. But speaking of which, my acting must be really, really great, so I fooled everyone, including you, you know. When I came to ask you to marry me, do you know how cute that expression and those eyes were? Forget it, I've said too much. Actually, I've always wanted to ask you. Ryan Hua coughed lightly. He had always been cold and proud, but at this moment, his voice carried a rare shyness of a young man. MIA-san, can I like myself too? In this life, I might not hear it, so in the next life, when I come to find you, you can tell me then. Accompanied by the sharp sound of the car's emergency brake and the cacophony of the crowd's screams, I clearly heard his last words. He said, MIA-san, I really, really, really like you a lot. The ending note unexpectedly carried a hint of laughter. The emotions that had been suppressed suddenly collapsed at this moment. In the empty living room, the lilies that Ryan Hua had brought home a few days ago were still on the table. I have always liked lilies. He offered it to me as if presenting a treasure. Mie, does it smell good? I picked each one specifically. Mie, from now on, I will be the one to change the flowers at home. At that time, the fragmented smile in his eyes was like gentle starlight. How could I say even half a word of refusal? But the one who made the promise lied. He was the first to leave. He also took away the last trace of vitality from the lily. The warm sun shines through the floor-to-ceiling window onto my shoulder. I reach out to touch it, but it feels only cold. Up to this day, I finally caught a glimpse of the vast and secret love hidden beneath the ice layer by Ryan Hua, but it seems a bit too late. Lawyer Chen saw Madam He again a week later. He came to collect the inheritance transfer documents. He had followed Ryan Hua for many years and had met Mrs. He many times. In his impression, Madam He was always dignified, gently smiling like a jade Buddha on a pedestal, watching the world's turmoil with a cold gaze, neither happy nor angry, nor moved. Even when she learned of Ryan Hua's death, she only froze for a moment and didn't even cry. Ryan Hua was so good to her, yet she received only a drop of her tear. Lawyer Chen once felt it was unfair to Ryan Hua in his heart. But this time, as soon as he entered the living room, Lawyer Chen saw Mrs. He holding several wilted lilies, her face whiter than the falling snow. Upon seeing him, she didn't even give a polite smile, but coldly stated, Lawyer Chen, let's donate his property to the orphanage. I don't want him. It means there's no room for negotiation. As he was leaving, Lawyer Chen couldn't help but turn back and ask, Madam, did you ever have feelings for Mr. He? Madam He simply smiled but did not answer. Many years later, Madam He had become a philanthropist who was widely reported by the media, funding countless orphans. The next time I saw her was at her sickbed. She was clearly only 4 to 5 years old, yet she already had a head full of white hair, At that moment, she was looking out the window. As if she saw someone, with a hint of youthful innocence on her face, she said, "I like you, I've always liked you, MIA. Please help your sister, she's still so young, how can she go to jail?" "Sister, I really know I was wrong, I didn't mean it, I don't want to go to jail, I'm a big star, and if I go to jail, my whole life will be ruined." When I woke up from a state of darkness, what greeted my ears was a loud and chaotic crying voice. My head was pounding, slowly opening my eyes. I could finally see everything in front of me. Song Yu was kneeling on the ground, crying while lying on the floor. Father Song held her tightly, comforting her. Mother Song was gripping my hand tightly. Her eyes and face full of tears, her voice choked but very serious. "MA, would you go to jail for your sister?" I looked at her in silence, as if it were a form of encouragement. Song's mother gritted her teeth and said, "MEA, there are no surveillance cameras at the scene, only you and ARU were present. The paparazzi only captured a silhouette, they can't identify anything. As long as you admit that you accidentally pushed He Xiaoxiao, the police won't find anything, don't worry. After you go to prison, Mom will definitely take care of everything for you, making sure you don't suffer. When you get out, the Song family will take care of you for the rest of your life." Yeah, she also said this in her previous life. The shelf life is only less than a year after the promise expired. I was kicked out of the single room, and because of my beauty, I attracted some people's bullying and revenge, beating, insulting, and even poisoning. It's unbearable, but no one has seen me. It was not until I was poisoned by nitrites in the food and was taken for medical treatment outside of prison that Song's mother came to my hospital bed. That day, she looked down at me with a hint of impatience on her face and said, "After all, this is a prison, not a resort. Enduring some hardship is unavoidable, MAA. You shouldn't be so delicate. Eru is going on a business trip abroad soon, and I'm worried she probably won't have time to see you in the future." Since then, I have never seen her again. Looking at Song's mother now, with tears all over her face, I believe that what she says at this moment is all from the heart. But true feelings are easily changed. The guilt and self-blame I felt eventually turned into a deeper fear as time passed. I gently pulled my hand away from Song's mother and said, "No way." Song's mother was taken aback, probably not expecting that I, who usually behaved like a docile sheep, would actually refuse her. But when I spoke again, it was serious and resolute. "Mom, I thank you for raising me for 20 years, but I don't want to sacrifice my whole life for that. You can call me selfish or an ingrate, but I don't want to take the blame for her. I have returned from my rebirth, not to repeat the same mistakes. In the previous life, Ryan Hua saved me. In this life, I want to save myself." Then, walked upright and honorable to Ryan Hua's side. My refusal infuriated Mr. Song, who scolded me for not being grateful. Enjoying so many years of benefits from the Song family without being willing to give a bit in return, Mrs. Song, Song Yu, was crying heartbrokenly. They saw that I wouldn't be intimidated by soft or hard tactics, so they were worried I would escape, so they locked me in a room. Only my brother, Song Changri, remained silent from start to finish. Just like in the previous life, my mother confiscated my phone, but she didn't know I had a backup. Call the phone. The news of He Xiao's accidental severe injury yesterday, leading to a vegetative state, has been trending. The clues are scarce, only the paparazzi have taken a blurry photo of a silhouette, and he said Song Yu and her sister had spent some time alone with He Xiaoxiao. The police are probably already on their way. I opened the spare phone and subconsciously dialed a phone number. Looking at the familiar digits, I froze for a moment but ultimately did not make the call. I don't know why. There is always some fear in my heart. I'm afraid that the person on the other end of the phone isn't someone I know, and I'm even more afraid that when I wake up from the dream, I won't be able to see him again. In the previous life, after Ryan Hua passed away, I regularly paid his phone bill. In the quiet of the night, I sent him a text message, sometimes daily, sometimes just to vent. I always get a reply, "MAA, I'm here." It's his auto-reply. He set it up before he died. How can this person be so despicable, despicably holding onto my heart, making me unable to forget him for 10, 20, 30 years? I got up, pulled back the curtains, and the warm sun shone through the window onto me, bringing with it a hint of coolness. I saw the police outside the door, and the ambiguous gaze cast by Father Song. I trembled as I sent a text message in the end. Ryan Hua, do you want to come and save me? Song's mother initially wanted to stop me from taking action and then solidify the evidence against me, but I forcefully slammed the door. In response to the police's inquiries, I ignored Song's mother's pleading gaze and replied one by one. In my past life, I was able to successfully convict and close the case because I voluntarily admitted to the crime and even got rid of my alibi evidence. But in this life, I won't be that foolish. The kindness from over 20 years ago has long been worn away in my previous life. Not hating is already my limit. In contrast to my composure, Song Yu appeared even more flustered and anxious. Who is right and who is wrong, obvious at a glance. When Song Yu was taken away, her mother cried out hysterically, and her father had a dark expression, occasionally glancing at me as if I were the enemy responsible for killing his daughter. I wish I could be torn to shreds. The two followed Song Yu away. I quietly watched, saying nothing. At that moment, Song Chungri came to my side and said in a deep voice, "The Song family can't tolerate you anymore. Leave here." I looked up at him, my gaze pausing for a second on his red eyes. "Don't you blame me?" Song Chungri was taken aback, and he didn't answer whether he did or not, just looked in the direction of the police car, as light as a gust of wind. "You are also my younger sister." He said the same thing in his past life. He advised me not to take the blame. I asked him why, and he looked down at me, his gaze like wind and rain, gentle yet full of pity. "You are also my sister, it's just that I failed to heed his advice, but this time, I have decided to listen to him. Father and Mother Song are just afraid that I hate them to the bone now. Staying behind will only add to the trouble," I said earnestly. "Brother, take care of yourself." Song Chungri curled his lips and spoke in a husky voice. Live well and be yourself." I packed my bags and walked out of the Song family house. Look ahead. The wind blew, lifting a ground full of fallen leaves. At this moment, the sunlight shines on me, warm and cozy. At that moment, a figure suddenly rushed in front of me, sounding extremely flustered. Son, I'm here. Are you okay?" I was stunned for a moment. I looked up. The man is wearing a black shirt, his body tall and straight, with deep-set eyes. He seems to be immersed in the morning sun, as if standing in the light, his clear and slightly wicked handsome face looking lazy and indifferent. But at this moment, his face was slightly pale, and he was nervously sizing me up. When he saw that I was unscathed, his expression relaxed, and his gaze lingered on my suitcase for 2 seconds. After a moment, he hesitated to speak. Son, have you run away from home?" "It's Ryan Hua. To be precise." Ryan Hua looks much younger. Past memories quickly flashed through my mind. There is him gently looking at me, him lazily yawning, him holding my hand step by step into marriage, finally freezing at that evening when we first met. He seemed lazy, but in fact, he secretly clenched his fist and asked me, "Son, will you marry me?" At that moment, my heart was racing wildly, and I couldn't bear to take my eyes off the man. Until he widened his eyes in panic and exclaimed, "Son, why are you crying? Who bullied you? Did I cry? Why are you crying?" Seeing him again, I clearly should be happy. However, the emotions that have been suppressed in my heart in my past life turned into tears and flowed out from my heart. The tears cannot be stopped. I cry. Ryan Hua quietly stayed with me. After a long time, he embraced me, his voice low and tinged with a hint of helpless indulgence, as if he were comforting a beloved child. "Don't cry. Who bullied you? I'll help you get revenge." "Okay, not good." I clutched his sleeve tightly and shook my head. "No revenge. In this life, I just want to be together with you properly. I don't want to think about anything." I returned to his apartment with Ryan Hua, cold and desolate. It's his style. In a previous life, after Ryan Hua passed away, I lived here for a long time. It can be considered a memorial. It also feels like a reminiscence. It's hard to explain. I am already familiar with the layout here, but I didn't notice that as I skillfully walked into the deepest part, turned a corner, pushed the door open, and entered the bathroom. Ryan Hua's gaze darkened for a moment, looking at myself in the mirror, with red and swollen eyes, disheveled. I gently sighed, feeling a bit embarrassed, clearly determined to face Ryan Hua with dignity. But every time we meet, I am always so awkward. But it doesn't matter, Ryan Hua loves me so much, I won't dislike you, never. This is the most certain and confident thing in my life. After leaving the bathroom, Ryan Hua was leaning outside the door waiting for me. He asked me, "Why are you crying?" I calmly recounted everything that just happened. There is nothing to hide between him and me. After listening, Ryan Hua was stunned for a moment. "So, the Song family wants you to take the blame," I nodded. But I refused. This matter won't end so simply, although He Xiaoxiao is seriously injured and unconscious. And there is no substantive evidence from Ren Hua. We have to wait for her to wake up to take the blame. Even though Song Ru is currently considered a major suspect by the police, your suspicion isn't unfounded. His expression grew darker the more he spoke. I suddenly interrupted him. "Ryan Hua, I'm a bit hungry." His gaze paused on me, and seeing my clear eyes with no trace of tension, he sighed helplessly. "I'll go make it." I nodded. In my previous life, I had a severe stomach illness. So Ryan Hua specially studied medicinal diets and cooked for me personally every day. His cooking skills are very good. I used to think he would have culinary skills. But at this moment, seeing the lump of noodles he brought out, I suddenly realized that Ryan Hua, a young master, had always been served by others. So how could he have known how to cook from the beginning? He learned for me. It has always been for me. I picked up my chopsticks and took a bite. It was quite salty. But Ryan Hua looked at me expectantly. "Is it delicious?" His eyes shimmered with tiny stars. "It's extremely beautiful." He looked just like the man in my memories who smiled and asked me if I liked him. I lowered my head, holding back the bitter emotions, and nodded heavily. "Delicious, yes, I really like it." The last bowl of noodles, thrown into the trash can. Because I cried. Ryan Hua thought it was because it was too hard to eat. Then he picked up the chopsticks and took a bite. Then, in the next second, it went into the trash can. He frowned, looking dissatisfied. "I want to cry. How can it be so hard to eat?" Very cute. It made me laugh out loud, dispelling the gloom between my eyebrows. I encouraged, "It's okay, you will definitely cook delicious food in the future." "Why?" I smiled and said, "Because I am your only diner in the future." The man's eyes flickered, appearing contemplative, revealing an inscrutable depth. He said in a deep voice, "MIA son. What will you be to me in the future?" I was stunned for a moment, then she looked up at him, but met his deep black eyes, confident and unwavering. He guessed it, me too. He is always so clever. "Perhaps." I paused for a moment before slowly saying, "Lover, lover, people in love." I thought Ryan Hua might be stunned or frown and ask, but instead, he softened his expression. The corners of his eyes curved slightly, and the corners of his mouth lifted. Losing his casual indifference and looking extremely sincere, he said, "That's good, that's good." Looking at the tear mole trembling at the corner of his eye as he smiled, I suddenly wanted to taste what it was like. I thought about it and then did it. I lifted my foot and kissed him. In his astonished gaze, I smiled brilliantly. "Ryan Hua, I like you so much. I forgot to tell you last life. This life, I'll tell you, I like you. I have always liked you." Before going to sleep, Ryan Hua covered me with a blanket. "If you're scared, call my phone, and I'll come right away." Before leaving, she placed the amulet around her neck in my palm. I know this. As a child, Ryan Hua was weak, so Mrs. Heo brought him a talisman for safety, to protect him until he grew up. Nowadays, he also uses this to protect my safety. I clutched the jade pendant, my heart racing, and my cheeks were burning, until Ryan Hua slowly walked out and closed the door. Only then did I suddenly feel a little sore in my face, touched my lips, and realized I had been smiling all along. My heart feels heavy as well. Ryan Hua is always like this. He seems like a playboy, never taking anything seriously, but in fact he is the most attentive and gentle person. I couldn't fall asleep until midnight during this nap, a little excited and a little scared. He glanced at his phone placed beside his pillow, thought for a moment, and wondered whether Ryan Hua had fallen asleep now. "I'm a bit afraid of disturbing him if I call. It might be better to just send a text." Are you asleep? I just sent it out, then felt it was a bit unnecessary and was about to retract it. Suddenly, a sound of footsteps came from the doorway. Following that, there was the sound of a door being pushed open. When I opened my eyes again, Ryan Hua was already standing in front of my bed window. The moonlight filtered through the window, falling on Ryan Hua's shoulders, softening his sharp edges and making him appear gentle and warm. He leaned down and gently asked, "MIA, what's wrong?" It was less than a minute after sending the message. He has already arrived. He is truly putting his words into action. He said he would come, so no matter how late it is, he will come. Perhaps, like me, he also couldn't sleep that night, only because I was afraid that I really needed him. Thinking of this, my heart tightened painfully, painful and suffocating. I stayed at Ryan Hua's house for half a month. The most interesting thing was waiting for Ryan Hua to come home. He would go into the kitchen to mess around with his cooking, while I leaned against the door, quietly watching him, occasionally lending him a hand. Under the warm yellow light, he combed his hair back, revealing a handsome yet somewhat youthful face, shrouded in a layer of soft gauze, exuding a faint tenderness. At this time, he had not yet graduated from university. Compared to the decisive president he of his previous life, he now appears somewhat inexperienced and naive. This is a time she has never participated in and never known. He occasionally glanced over, the corners of his lips gently curling up. The clear love in his eyes cannot be hidden at all. He really likes me. At this moment, I realized that in the time I was unaware of, Ryan Hua had truly been putting a lot of effort into liking me. My heart tightened abruptly, the emotions in my chest flowing through my bloodstream, finally turning into a long sigh. Watching Ryan Hua's cooking skills improve day by day, the Song family could no longer hold back. I had thought that the Song family wouldn't just let Song Yu be convicted and sent to prison. But I didn't expect that the Song family would bribe He Xiaoxiao's agent to identify me as the real culprit. So shameless, so despicable. In front of the camera, Song's mother exposed my and Song Yu's background. She cried with tears. I really didn't expect that MIA would intentionally hurt others. She has always been such a good child, yet now, to avoid punishment, she actually framed her own sister. Although ARU is my biological daughter, she has hardly enjoyed any happiness. And now she has to be falsely accused and imprisoned. Emmy really makes my heart ache. Song Yu curled up in her arms, awkwardly wiping her tears away, while allowing her own tears to stream down her cheeks. "Mom, please don't be sad. My sister must have made a mistake out of confusion. If I can atone for her, I am willing to take her place. As long as she can be filial to you, that's enough for me." The mother and daughter wept sadly in front of the media, looking terribly pitiful. Those who make mistakes must take responsibility. You don't need to bear what isn't yours to bear. Finally, Father Song faced the camera and said sternly, "MIA son, the Song family has raised you for so many years. I hope you can stand up and atone for your mistakes." The video was released. An outcry against me erupted online. What an ingrate, a fake heiress who has enjoyed so many years of privilege, yet has made Song's biological daughter take the blame for her. Is this humane, MIA son? You venomous woman, you dare to act but not take responsibility. It's really disgusting. Yes, the Song family has been very kind to you, and you repay their kindness with resentment. Absolutely shameless. The curses keep coming. My private account has also been exposed, and my DMs are exploding every day. Even former classmates called to ask about my situation. Those who care about me, I occasionally reply. Those who try to make me confess, I directly block. The outside world is full of disturbances. Yet I did nothing. No matter how much the Song family tries to boost their momentum or cause trouble, as long as the police don't summon me, I am innocent. Once Hua acts, he will inevitably cause chaos within his own ranks and fall into a trap of self-incrimination. Ryan Hua received the news that day and hurriedly rushed home, and as soon as he opened his mouth, he said, "I can help you." I smiled. "No, I can do it myself." But the words reached halfway. I don't know why. But I suddenly remembered something that happened in my previous life, a heated argument. But calling it heated, actually, it's just because Ryan Hua treated me too well. which made many people jealous. Someone spread rumors behind my back that I was in prison, and there was a lot of online criticism. But in the end, it's just that I don't deserve Ryan Hua. Ryan Hua wants to help me eliminate the rumors. He wants to attend the press conference with me and take legal action against those who gossip. But I don't think it's necessary. I have been to prison before, and although I have a clear conscience, I don't want Ryan Hua to also face criticism because of it. But this angered Ryan Hua. He coldly questioned me, asking if I had him in my heart, if I considered him my husband. But I only felt that cold treatment was better, thinking he was being unreasonable and incomprehensible. That day, the living room was unlit, only the afterglow of the sunset remained. After a moment of silence, he scoffed and said softly, "You are pure and innocent in this world. I cannot allow others to point fingers at you. Amie-san, do you understand?" I remained silent and refused to reply to him. As I was leaving, I looked back and saw his solitary figure. I was a bit regretful. I thought, why not agree to him? It's just a small matter. But I didn't expect that would be the last time we met. After he died, I kept asking myself over and over, why didn't I accompany him? Why didn't I tell him my feelings? Those bundles of lilies, that meticulous care, that focused gaze, could I really not tell that he loved me? I clearly knew, but I was a bastard who took advantage of his love. I am certain that Ryan Hua will stay with me until the end of my life, indulging recklessly in his love. Yet he never wishes to soothe his anxious heart. Until he died, I understand love. But for love that is felt too late, the most cruel thing is that before one has even had the chance to confess, or to get close, it has already been completely lost. There are no more chances to return to a past life. It is the opportunity given to me by heaven to make amends. What love's restraint, shyness, and gradual progression. I can't afford to care. And I also can't learn it. I just want to be with him. Just want the most, still want. So I tightly embraced Ryan Hua, then kissed his lips. Between our lips and teeth, I whispered softly, "Sure, you help me. I'll give you a reward up front." Ryan Hua was momentarily stunned, then pushed me down onto the sofa even more deeply and forcefully. 2 hours later, I am too tired to get out of bed, but tightly held onto Ryan Hua, refusing to let go. I looked at him, clearly too sleepy to keep his eyes open, yet still unwilling to close them. "I'm still a bit afraid that this is a dream." He leaned down and gently kissed my cheek, between my eyebrows. "I'm here, MIA. Sleep, I'm always here." I made a sound of I could no longer hold on and fell into a sea of darkness. In a sea of darkness, I suddenly woke up. I am wearing a dark blue-gray pajama, lying in a bedroom with black and white tones, with a glass of cold water on the nightstand, next to which are white pills. I looked around, cold and desolate, but there was no one familiar there. My pain suddenly throbbed, memories surfaced in my mind, scene after scene, finally settling on that low, raspy voice with an electric current. "Amy, I really, really like you. It was just a dream." I am in a daze. It turns out to be a beautiful dream. I clutched my chest tightly. My hands and feet were cold, as if I were wrapped in a layer of net, slowly being deprived of my ability to breathe. And tears fell drop by drop. "MIA, what's wrong?" Someone suddenly pushed open the door and walked up to me, looking at me with a panicked expression. With tears in my eyes, I raised my hand to wipe away my tears, and finally saw the man's appearance clearly. "MIA, it's nothing. I just went out to deal with the Song family. I found the agent who was bribed by the Song family, and I also found the cleaner who happened to pass by that day. He saw Song Yu push Yi Xiao Xiao down. Song Yu has been convicted, and the people from the Song family are also being sued by me for defamation. MIA, there won't be anyone to frame you anymore." The man gently patted my back while recounting everything that had happened while I was asleep. I looked up at him. I leaned gently into his embrace, listening to the clear, strong heartbeat coming from his chest, and finally smiled. "It's okay. I missed you," I gently told him. "Ryan Hua, did I tell you, I really, really, really like you a lot?" The man chuckled and hugged me tightly. He said, "I like MIA too." People in love, after many years apart, finally told each other their love. Mountains and seas, time and space, nothing can stop it. The reunion of lovers. Reinhor Extra Chapter, I Am Reborn. After being reborn, the first thing I did was go to the Song family. However, I found that the Song family was still a harmonious place. MIA Sun is still the most aloof and intelligent goddess of the entire academy. Instead of the seemingly gentle but inwardly scarred Madam He of her previous life, MIA lacks a sense of security. The prison was too harsh, and she was envied by others, so those prisoners often deliberately tormented her at night. It also made her, even after being released, wake up at the slightest noise, even in her sleep. Then, I could no longer sleep. Once I sit down, it becomes an entire night. Yet even so, she can flawlessly do her work during the day. My MIA is fragile like snow, yet strong like a pine. It seems that a ray of light can melt it, but in fact, she is unbreakable. I love her, and I admire her. At the school's freshman ceremony, MIA Song delivered a speech as the student council president. I sat in the audience, looking over from afar. The girl was dressed in a uniform, with a ponytail, revealing a beautiful yet youthful face. She freely flaunted her beauty, showcasing her knowledge, captivating many people not just visually but also intellectually. At that moment, MIA was the youthful, innocent overachiever from his memories. MIA Sun stood on the podium, the wind blowing towards her, scattering her hair, and the sunlight seemed to favor her, painting her with a light shade of gold. In that moment, I suddenly thought how wonderful it would be if time could stand still right here. His MIA must never accept those trials and tribulations. Always stay pure. Laugh is laugh, pain is pain. There won't be any rumors, and I won't provoke mockery or ridicule. How wonderful it would be. I already knew that Song Yu would get into trouble, so I specially installed surveillance in that secluded corridor. I originally wanted to publish, but I received an SOS from MIA Sun. At that moment, I knew, MIA has come back too. I want to know her attitude this time. I want to know if she will handle the Song family like Hua. And this time she refused to take the blame. She left the Song family. I saw her quietly dragging her luggage, walking on the deserted Phoenix Tree Avenue. When she saw me, she broke into a smile. It made me feel, well, the sun was so warm that day. I took her home. I pretended to be unaware of everything. After working hard for a long time, I made a bowl of colorless noodles. I watched her stare blankly, gradually guiding her to discover my love for her. Seeing her make my heart tremble, I should have been happy. But at the moment I saw her tears, I felt heartache again. Forget it, I want to. Loving her is enough. Whether she loves me or not, and what importance does it hold? But in the end, she threw herself into my arms, held me tightly, and told me. At that moment, I felt like the world was filled with blooming flowers. I tried hard to hold back the tears in my eyes, responding to my princess word by word. I feel the same. MIA Sun, I really, really, really like you. People say that those in love will always meet, so I think about that day of meeting. The sunlight must be warm,